so many of my clients, they come to me and they say, my face is still tired. I use great skincare. I get plenty of sleep. I stay hydrated, like you ask, but there's still probably one thing that they're not doing. And it might just be the very reason that those wrinkles are getting deeper and their glow's fading. And so today we're going to talk about it. But here's the good news. It's not another product. And if you haven't met me yet, I am Michelle Rose. I'm a Christian health and beauty strategist. I work with midlife women just like you, who are just tired of the wrinkles, tired of the weight, tired of not feeling like themselves anymore, right? I help you reconnect with your body, your purpose, and how God uniquely designed you to show up so you can stop hiding and feel amazing in your own skin again and in your own life again. So by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how facial massage can help prevent wrinkles, how they can lift saggy areas of your face, and how they can bring your skin back to life using nothing but your hands. And so make sure you do stick around to the end because I'm sharing my personal go-to technique for releasing facial tension in areas of the face, especially for me, my nasolabial folds when they start creeping in. So you're definitely going to want this in your back pocket. All right, let's go ahead and talk about something that might be the real reason your wrinkles are showing up faster than you'd like. Okay, and it's not going to always be about aging or gravity like we often will blame, right? And it's not always your skincare products. And so it's definitely not about what you're doing wrong. It's just what you don't know that is holding you back. So the truth is, a lot of what you're seeing in the mirror is actually tension. Okay. And we carry so much tension in our face that we don't even realize it. So that jaw, the mouth, the space between our brows and our foreheads, right? These spots hold so much stress. They hold it like muscle memory. And so we often brush off wrinkles as just aging, but that's not always what's going on and what's happening, right? So I'm curious, uh, if you were to stop right now, where are you feeling tension in your face? Right? Drop it in the comments if you're here. But I bet you're holding on to some tension that you didn't even notice until I mentioned it, right? Often for me, it's right here because I do develop 11 lines on my forehead. And here's the interesting thing, right? A lot of those deep lines that we're seeing on our face, especially around the mouth and across our forehead, they're a result of that repetitive tension, the patterns. That's not just time, right? So it's the same way as stress shows up like in your shoulders to your back, right? It shows up on your face the same exact way. But instead of causing soreness necessarily, it causes a downward pull on the skin. So over time, that will create more folds, creases, sagging, that kind of thing. And you can think about it like folding the same page of a book every day, right? Eventually that crease becomes permanent. And so that's what's happening with your face. And that's why we want to talk about it so that we can make it something that's not going to happen as muscle memory and permanence, right? And here's the part that really, really shifted everything for me as I have continued to study the face and the skin is you can't fix this by applying more products. Okay. You can't layer a serum over stuck tension and expect your face to lift. Because if the tension's downward pulling, you're just putting skincare on top of it. So you have to go and release that tension first. And that's exactly what face massage does. Okay. And facial massage, I think before I used to think that it was all about pampering, but truly it ends up being like a deep reset for your face, right? It helps your muscles soften, lift your skin, um, circulation improves, and then your face, it remembers what it's like to feel supported again, right? And I've had days where my nasal labial folds, that's the smile line area, felt so heavy and puffy that within 5 minutes of just gentle facial massage along my jaw and my mouth area, especially around the nose here, they started to soften, right? And then, sometimes I will show some lines across my forehead, right? So the interesting thing about when you soften the forehead muscles, and we're going to get so much deeper into this later in this episode, but you'll notice here when I scrunch my eyebrows and I increase my 11 line area, I'm having downward pull of the eyelids, right? So this is often part of the reason why our upper eyelids start sagging and drooping, right? And so when you go and you release that tension around the brows and the forehead, right? Your face almost responds immediately. Massage it helps your skin bounce back because it resets that structure underneath. Okay. And I've worked with several women who were convinced that they needed injections to fix this. But once they went and released the tension in their forehead or in their eyebrows or wherever it is, their eyes opened up bright, looked alive again, and lifted again, right? So tell me if you're here in the comments, have you ever thought about wrinkles as a sign of tension? Because I'm telling you, once you feel that difference, you're never going to want to go back. All right, let's go ahead and be real for a second, though, because we need to talk about what people have tried that didn't give them the results that they hoped for, because you probably tried a lot already. Okay, you've probably tried serums, creams, maybe a gua sha stone that you bought on Amazon, right? Maybe even Botox or fillers. Okay, I do have clients who they do that. Kind of the new craze is those little tools that buzz or light up and have red light, right? That promise a lot of miracles if you use it for 5 minutes a day. And so if you're trying all these things that you're not getting the results you want, you have tried a lot. You've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of energy. So you may be asking yourself, like, why isn't these things working the way I'd hoped, right? But maybe your skin does get a little smoother when you use those tools, right? But those deeper folds might still be there. And that heaviness around your mouth, your jawline, around your eyes, right? You still don't feel like you when you look in the mirror because of those deeper areas. And here's something most people actually don't talk about. A lot of those solutions only work on the surface of your skin. So if you're trying out products and serums and things like that, they can only go so deep, right? But aging doesn't just happen on the outside of your skin, right? It happens because of what's going on deeper and underneath and in the places that these products can't touch. So is this making sense so far? Like your facial muscles, your circulation, your lymph flow, these are all systems that keep everything lifted, glowing, and energized in your skin. And if they're not being supported, everything starts to slow down and go dull over time. So let me go ahead and paint a quick picture for you of how this works. Imagine your skincare is like water flowing through a garden hose, right? But if there's a kink in the hose, and if circulation is blocked from tension causing restriction, right? So let's pretend this little circle right here that I'm making with my hand is blood flow, and then tension causes it to kink like this. You can't get circulation through, right? No circulation can get through. So that's exactly what happens when tension builds up in your face and you've put skincare product on and you want your skin to absorb it, but with the tension, it can't get through. Okay. So the muscles, they're tight. And then the fascia, it starts getting tense and sticky, right? And so your skin, it's not flexible, it's not moldable, and your blood flow starts slowing down. And your blood flow is what sends all the nutrients to your skin, right? But massage, just like face exercise, it gets things moving again. It unkinks that hose. It restores and boosts the blood flow and the lymphatic flow. It keeps your skin in a place where it can receive everything it's been missing, all those nutrients, and bring it back to life. So, and think about it too. Once you get circulation going, if you've ever gone and done like a workout and your skin's glowing, that's because you've got the circulation pumping through your skin, right? Um, Now, some of you may have tried injectables like Botox and fillers, and that's a personal choice, and we're not even going to address that here. But here's the part that most people don't realize or think about. When a muscle is frozen, it stops moving. And what happens when it stops moving, right? It stops doing its job. And then that means over time, there's less tone, less blood flow, less lymphatic drainage happening. And over time, that muscle, it weakens. And the skin that sits on top of the muscle starts to lose its natural support and collapses. Okay. It's kind of like when you've broken your arm and you have like an arm brace on for several months. Sure, it's going to keep it still, right? But eventually, those muscles underneath get smaller, weaker, and atrophy. So, your face, it works the same way. And that's why facial massage is such a powerful alternative or even a complement to Botox, because it keeps those muscles calm, awake. The circulation is still flowing, and the skin's supported from the inside out, and the muscle is not atrophying. So, I hope that that has shifted your perspective a little. And here's the best part, it puts the power back into your hands, right? You're not waiting for that next spa treatment on the calendar. You're building daily habits over time that your face loves, right? And so instead of chasing the next fix, you're working with your face and how it naturally operates. And I can tell you from experience, when that shift happens, everything starts to change, right? It's awesome. All right. So, what actually begins to change when you bring massage into your skincare routine consistently? Like, we're going to get specific here because I want to help you read the signs on your face like a guide so that you know what it's really trying to tell you and where to focus and start your massaging techniques. And so, just so you know, this is the kind of insight that I have built into the worksheet that goes with this episode. So you can go grab it in the Facebook community, Making Life Beautiful Again, and it walks you through all of this step by step. But let's walk through a few examples right now. Okay. So we're going to talk about what actually is happening when you bring facial massage into your routine consistently. And I want to be clear, this is not about turning your bathroom into a spa, lighting some candles and laying cucumbers on your eyes for an hour. Now, I do love moments where I can get that because as a nomad in a travel trailer, I don't have a bathtub that sometimes it is nice just to soak with cucumbers on your eyes. But this is real, practical, and doable. I'm talking just a few intentional minutes a day with your own hands in front of the mirror, maybe even while your coffee's brewing. Okay. It's that simple. And it's those few minutes where everything starts to shift. And so we're going to walk you through how to read your face like a guide. So let's go ahead and talk about the forehead lines right here. Okay. You might think that these are from aging, but most of the time it is tension in your scalp and in your brow line. Also in the fascia, you've got fascia right here at the crown of your head that the muscles are attached here to. And so if that is tense, you need to massage that out. So your scalp and fascia are what directly connects your forehead, right? And when they're tight, they pull everything downward. So the answer for this, a gentle scalp massage, right? And you can almost notice your forehead wrinkles soften immediately, right? Your brow will start lifting. Your expression will start looking softer and calmer, more open. Your eyes might be more wide awake. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the upper eyelids and the sagging that happens here. We talked about how that often happens with tension in your 11 line and brow area. So a lot of subconsciously hold tension here without even realizing it, especially during stress, screen time. I do it when I'm reading a book for some reason. But you're going to focus your massage right here above and below the brow bone in small, slow movements. All right. And then again, you're going to notice your brow start lifting naturally. Your lids become less heavy. Your eyes will open up brighter, look more refreshed. And then even applying eye makeup will happen a little bit more smoother. Okay, now I do want to talk about the deeper lines you're going to see around your eyes, but here in the crow's feet area, right here on the side of the eye. This can be from repetitive smiling and squinting, of course, but also it often happens from lack of blood flow in the outer eye area near the temples. So what you're going to do is you're going to either use very light tapping or circular motion around the temples and the outer eyes. Now, this area is very delicate, so I want to make sure that you know to never tug, but you're just going to be stimulating that area gently enough to get the blood flow and the circulation going. So, what ends up happening when you do this? You see those fine lines in the crow's feet area lighten up and soften. Your skin starts looking a little more plump in that area because you've got blood flow happening, so it can send hydration to that area. And then your eyes are going to look less tired. And the crow's feet area does give your eyes the appearance of sunken in eyes over time. So it's even going to help with that. And then last but not least, my favorite, because this is the area I deal with. And so if you're noticing deep smile lines or in the nasal labial fold area, this one is big because again, most people think it's about aging, but 90% of the time, and that's a lot of percentage, right? Is the tension in your jaw and cheek muscles near your nose. So when you've got these muscles right here, right on the side of your nose, connected to your cheeks, when they're pulling down, it's just going to continue that downward pull. And then they lead to marionette lines often too. So what you're going to do is you're going to try massaging along the jawline, right? And around the nose and the cheek area in slow upward motions. Okay. And what you're doing is you're making sure to follow the track of the cheekbone when you're massaging instead of just pulling and moving. You're going to be working in that upward motion so that you're pulling the skin away from the nasolabial folds and lifting. You see that? All right. So what ends up happening, the folds soften, the cheeks lift, the jawline looks more defined. You don't have that extra pocket here of fat. And so that whole middle of the face starts to look lighter and tighter. So these are the kinds of shifts that start happening when you bring regular massage into your routine. And the best part, it doesn't actually take very long. And a few intentional minutes a day can completely change the way your face feels, how it looks, how you feel about the way it looks. Um, and if this episode spoke to you and you're ready to stop guessing and start following a plan that actually works, I'd love to invite you to join me inside my Face Exercise Monthly membership, Ageless Beauty Collective. Every week, I guide you through targeted face workouts that support real lasting changes. In this month's training, we went deep into massage, showing you exactly how to release tension, lift the skin, and bring life back to the areas we talked about today. And next month, we'll be talking more about that. So if you're ready for that kind of support, the link is going to be in the show notes, and I'd love to see you inside. All right, friend. That's what I have for you today. And I hope you're walking away with some fresh perspective on how powerful your hands and what you actually already have, how it can be used to support your face, right? Next week, we're going to be switching gears. I love this. We're going to be talking about that voice in the mirror that tells you you're not enough, that constant nitpicking, that critic that points out every flaw, right? Next week's episode is all about quieting that inner critic and actually finding confidence when you look at your reflection in the mirror. So it's going to be encouraging, and it just might change the way you see yourself when you do look in the mirror. So I hope to see you there, and we'll see you next week.